Hi, everybody, and welcome to this wonderful session where we're on the 11th sign, the dog. And this is particularly interesting and lovely and beautiful for us because Siddharth and I were in residence at the Leonardo house, which I'll share with you very briefly here. So this was in 2019, just before the pandemic. And we started our long process on doing a cookbook, which prototype is here. Here we are with Monica in the market, which was amazing. You can imagine in Paris. So a lot of the plates that you see in our project were actually shot there. And this is our table that we set up. We actually had a couple of incredible dinners with guests. And this here is our guest today, the hostess with the mostest, Annick Bureaud, who basically hosted our residency, but also was a very willing activist in helping us figure out the interface, the designs. And here you see the photograph of the first meeting of Leonardo, which Frank Molina, Roger Molina's father, set up. And so we were in this house of art and science doing this project, which was amazing. And we had an incredible guest, Nina Barbier, and many other people who joined us. And it was absolutely an incredible event. So today we're coming together right after Thanksgiving. And we always start with a thank you. To us, gratitude is the core of this project, gratitude to the animals. So we always start by saying thank you to the animals who join us. Thank you to the animals who are being featured in particular. And that would be Annick, who I just mentioned, Maria Just, who will follow her, and Adrienne Marton, who's joined us recently in the Artside Collective. So this is super exciting, but just a brief gratitude, which with the Hawk Zodiac we do by sharing the wine that is symbolic of the blood we all share, and the fusilli that Sid is showing you, that it is our DNA that we all share. So we'll just drink and eat on your behalf. And when you hear a good story or get a good recipe, the mantra is mmm. And so with that, hi Nina, good to see you.
Hi, good to see you too, Victoria.
With that, we're going to move to...
And Siddharth and everybody else.
Yes, we're going to move to Annick, who's joining us from Paris, and it's evening there, so she's ready for dinner. Annick and all the dogs, this is the leftovers that I'm sharing with you, literally from the Thanksgiving dinner, and I'll do a close-up later. Okay, all yours, Annick.
Well, thank you, Victoria. So my name is Annick Bureaud. I'm a dog, and I don't really like it being a dog.
Oh,
Talk about it later.
I wish I was the dog.
It's strange to have this virtual dinner and sharing on screen, but I'll try to make it as a real sharing meal. So I'm going to start by what my offer to you. If it doesn't work, I will ask. So trying not to break anything. Okay, I think you can more or less.
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
See, and this is heavy. So my offer for you today is what is good to eat when you are a dog. And among what is good to eat when you are a dog, I've chosen nuts, seeds, and cheese. And cheese is for the smell, of course. You don't smell it, but I can assure you those are really typical French cheese. Somehow I found it strange that those ingredients, seeds, are good for dogs, but it's what it was written in the list that Victoria and Mariam sent me, and it was in my guidelines. And I don't really know what the ancient Chinese had in mind when they decided that seeds and nuts and cheese were good for dogs, but it's how it goes. And in the list that I was provided, I decided for nuts and seeds because of their symbol. Seeds are life wrapped in a compact, safe container. Seeds are the promise for a future life, for the future of life. And as Lucy Campagnolo put it during one of our workshops, seeds show that life travels light. And Lucy is a space engineer, and she was telling us about plants being grown in the ISS, in the International Space Station. So today with the Artemis mission, we are talking about bringing humans back to the moon. And we all know, of course, that there is a rabbit on the moon. But we also all know that the first living creature that left the Earth ever was a dog. But what is less known is that between 51 and 66, 42 flights involved dogs. And usually there were 2 dogs per flight. That's a lot of dogs. And they went from a few hours, just up and back, to 22 days in orbit. I'm just trying to figure out what it means for a dog, but there's no idea what it is up there to be 22 days in orbit. And some of them flew several times. Many died, as you can imagine. 3 made it to glory and celebrity outside the USSR, Laika, of course, in 1957, which was not the first dog to be flown by the Russian, but the first one in orbit, during a real orbit. She died in space at no recovery system was planned. The 2 others were Strelka and Belka in 1960, and they spent 1 day in orbit. And for me, this raises those dogs. I mean, this Oxoliang remote dinner tonight made me think again about what we want to do, or what we could do, or what we should be doing on Earth. I mean, related to space, to human space, human presence in space, and what we would like to do with some people thinking of building bases where human would live on a permanent basis or semi-permanent basis. On Earth, dogs are our companions species, to follow the wording of Donna Haraway, who is a dog lover herself. But is it what we want for the future, or if we live in space, are we going to bring? So far, we have thought that we humans would go. Of course, we need to eat, we need to survive. So we are trying to figure out how to grow vegetables and things like that. But it has never been said that we would bring other kind of creatures, and especially dogs or cats, but I'm a dog. And would it be nice to bring those animals with us? Can we really create a society, I mean, a human society, only with humans and plants? Or do we need the other animals to make a society? I think these are questions that I've never really asked myself before, but I'm asking anew what I think about going to space and being in space. And those are questions that are emerging, assuming, of course, that we do live in space, which is in space on another planet, which is another issue that might never occur. But in a book, this book, and oops, how do I show this?
You may have to remove the screen. We see it. We see it.
Okay, it's called Soviet Space Dogs, and it's a book by Olats Turkina. And she wrote, will astronauts take living creatures with them into space as food or friends? Will a dog really become the best friend of a cosmonaut by sharing the hardships of living in space? Or will ethics make this situation impossible? If we create bases on other planets, should we, or are we bringing non-human with us? And if so, which ones? And I think for me, this is really the open question. And in the meantime, please have a seat.
Thank you so much,
you.
Annick. That's such an important question that seems so obvious, actually. But now that you bring it up, and I'm so happy that the Hog Zodiac actually made you think this, because you have done so much work around space and working with space on so many levels, and of course this whole project with plants. But really, that's such an amazing question, because it's still so anthropocentric the way the whole thing is envisioned. And it's now that you bring it up, it's like, wow, of course, yes. How come nobody's asking this?
Yeah.
And yet we're using the animals to test it all, and really sacrificing them literally, like the Mayans.
Yeah, it's interesting. The different creatures that they have taken are the dogs, and then I think they've taken some medaka fish on the space shuttle to see how they respond to those different environments. I don't know if humans can just survive with just plants as their pets. It might be interesting. I don't think that can happen.
I don't think so.
Roger, you had a hand up.
Oh, Roger. Hi, Roger. Good to see you.
I was trying to show you what I was cooking, but I'm having trouble. Oh, there it is.
Oh, we see it. We see it. That's fabulous.
I think my dog will eat it, except I don't own one at the moment. Anyway, so I just wanted to bring a couple of points into Annick's self-questioning. I remember 40 years ago, Carl Sagan, there was this huge debate, should we send humans into space or machines into space? And I was in the camp of sending machines, telescopes. Why do we need to send humans? Okay, I think the question is still open. Why don't we just explore space with machines and not be anthropocentric and send dogs? Although I guess sending machines is anthropocentric too, Victoria. Especially AI dogs, AI beings. But the other thing is, and I'm just going to bring into the collective anxiety that I've been teaching this semester a seminar on simulated reality. Everybody wants to go to the metaverse. Why? You can't send dogs to the metaverse. Sorry, that's my wife calling. And so why is the metaverse become the next outer space? Certainly among people, in their 20s now, VR, AR, metaverse. So I just want to go and explore the next frontier. So maybe space is not the next frontier, the metaverse is. I'll stop there.
Okay. can you tell us what you cooked? And you
Well-
had that really cute picture of you and the dog from a while back.
Well, you have the picture of the, okay, so that
Yeah.
was when I think I was 12. And that dog, by the way, I don't see it, but I assume you shared it. Is
Mariam, do you have it or should I pull it up?
okay, I emailed it to you. I didn't upload
I'll
it.
find it. Don't worry. We'll
worry.
come back to
Well,
it.
no,
Yeah,
anyway, so Annick knows this very well. So the first dog that my parents bought when I was about 6, we called it Rocket.
yeah. Uh-huh.
That was in 1955, before anything had been into space.
Wow. Wow. Interesting.
And then Rocket died, so we had Rocket 2. And then Rocket 2 died, and we had Rocket 3.
Oh, there we
that's
go.
Rocket. Annick, do you remember? That's my brother holding the dog. And
Yeah,
that's
this
me in
is
the
Alan,
background.
right?
What?
This is Alan.
Yeah, that's Alan holding the dog and me in the background.
Incredible. Oh, he was so cute. Cocker Spaniel, right?
Yeah, my mother was from the north of England, and so she believed in, she didn't like purebreds. They had to be hybrids. I think that gets into some of your discussions. And so we would go to Yorkshire, and there'd be places where they raised Cocker Spaniels of every color, brown, gold, yellow, green, you name it, genetic modifications. And so, yes, thank you for letting me go on too much. I see Extine Burrows there.
Is Extine here?
Well, I see her blue cat.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, how cool
Hi.
is that? What a great group today. Fantastic.
I'm joining you from the road, so I'm just kind of listening in, but I'm really happy to be here. Good to see you all.
Good to hear from you, Maxine. Thanks. We like knowing that you're present. So, of course,
I'm here for sure.
we're planning a banquet with Extine.
But you're in the metaverse, Extine. You're not really wearing a blue cap.
You wouldn't know that though. I might
Oh,
be.
tele-epistemology.
So, Roger, before we move on, can you tell us what you're cooking to offer to the dogs?
Okay, well, it's actually, I'm a great believer in recycling food. So I've taken dog food and put it in the soup.
Oh, no, come on.
What do you mean? It's perfectly edible.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm eating dog food in the soup. But I'm boiling it really hard to kill all the... No, but
Oh,
seriously, isn't dog food edible?
I have to say,
That's a
you
new
have
cultural connotation that we have to
pushed
deal
the
with.
edge, push the edge. But it does remind me of when I visited a small village in the south of China that my daughter took me to because I was looking to actually do plates for Hog Zodiac, and I created a few. They had the most beautiful pottery there. And because I'm coming from the States, I'm the guest of honor, all of this, the man who runs the whole foundry invited me very ceremoniously to his dinner. And then the centerpiece was a dog stew. And my daughter was like kicking me under the table, telling me this is dog stew. And this was like the end of my kind of, I'll eat anything you offer me with love. It was like, that was the line where I was just like, how do I keep myself from not throwing up? So much of it is cultural kind of conditioning, because I'm sure people feel like that about cows and other animals.